Okay, so today we're going to kind of be addressing the problem like with the reporting in general, but so how do you know your marketing's working? Well, a lot of that ties back to your reporting. So not following your reports, following the data, actually looking at it at all, and then actually measuring and knowing how to take action on that. So without measuring the results, you could be wasting money and time on your marketing that doesn't end up actually working. So if you aren't tracking your reporting, there's several issues that you can run into. You could be falling behind your competitors. So your competitors are actually if they're looking at the reporting and you aren't, they're taking actions that you aren't able to. So with that, there's also the opportunity to miss ways to improve your marketing. So with that, you're looking at, when you look at your marketing, you can kind of see which tactics are working and which ones are not, and which ones you should follow through and which ones you could kind of adjust. And you're also wasting your marketing budget. So investing your time and money into those tactics that aren't working is going to be causing you to kind of burn through that budget ineffectively. And then again, investing in the wrong tactics is just going to be detrimental to your company.
Has anyone experienced any of those areas where they were trying to grow a business or work on a marketing campaign?
Well, I can chime in, I guess. Like this is a really big problem for a lot of our clients. And the first thing a lot of people will ask me or tell me at some point, hey Peter, we're spending money on marketing and advertising, but I just can't see the results. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And without measuring the results and actually reporting on it, having a mechanism in place to do that on a monthly basis, on a regular basis, it's really hard to see where what works and what doesn't work. So that's kind of in my experience with a lot of the clients that we work on with.
Perfect.
Okay. So with those overarching issues, there's also the kind of the core problem with reporting is that it's often overwhelming for small business owners, even experienced marketing experts. Sometimes it can be overwhelming just because there's data coming in from everywhere and there's just so much of it. So that's what is causing people to avoid marketing or taking action on it. So reporting tools and data are often complicated to understand. So different platforms often have different metrics and different phrases for different types of data. So it can often become difficult to interpret it as well. When you gather the data, you aren't sure what to do with it. Again, that's something that's hindering many businesses is that, okay, I have all this data. Now, what am I supposed to do with it? If I'm not able to interpret it, I don't know how to take action on it. And there's just too many different platforms. So you have your social media. Within social media, there's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. So there's dozens of different platforms that you have to monitor, and having to look at those regularly in different locations is often causing a lot of headaches. And again, so there's different terms and they track different metrics. So that was a big roadblock, definitely when it comes to reporting.
Yeah, that's probably one of the bigger ones that we found, especially with, I don't know if any of you are familiar, if you are with Google, your website reporting on it. I think in the last, I want to say 7 years, they've updated how metrics are reported, how information is shared through their platform 3 times, where they had a complete overhaul. So as a small business owner, if that's not your primary focus and you're just trying to focus on operating your business and, dealing with your customers, growing success, everything changes from, you know, how everything is tracked on the same platform 3 times in a couple of years. It just becomes very frustrating for people to deal with. And it sets them up for misunderstanding, misinterpreting information, which of course nobody wants to do, because it becomes very frustrating and you feel disconnected from the own tools that you own and operate with.
And so now, while we understand what the problem is, we have to kind of understand why it's important that you pursue reporting and actually review it and take action on it. So again, tying back to that problem, you're wasting your time and money on ineffective tactics. So by reviewing your reporting, you can get the best return on your investment. You can establish a smart marketing budget. So if you kind of see that a certain tactic is producing the results that you want, you can invest more time and money into that certain tactic and pull back on other ones that are not quite working for you. And then making sense of available data. So effectively reporting on that data helps it make it more digestible and actionable. You can also track growth and trends. So see what's working, what's not working for your business, and then identify opportunities. So either pursue what you're already working on or kind of pivot to something that might work a little better with your target audience.
Yeah, exactly. I did a bit of research there on average, and you know, everybody's a little bit different, and I'm sure Sean, Judy, and Greg, you can speak on it. But a small to medium-sized business individual on a daily basis uses up to 20 different tools or platforms regularly. So that's again anything from your social media to your CRM to your website to your email tool, to time tracking. Now, managing all of that individually just becomes so much work and headache that it becomes, you know, muddy to understand exactly what is happening with all your marketing tactics when you're trying to understand all the different data points and touch points that it's giving you and all the different terminologies again. So again, if you're working with 20 plus different tools on a regular basis and you don't have a clear plan or even reporting on any of it, it just becomes a job of its own, just managing all of that.
Can you touch on it all? Like 20 sources of information just makes my head want to explode, just the thought of it. You know, for a small business, what's a reasonable amount? You know, they're busy running the business.
Yeah.
So there's
no like, there's no reasonable amount of tools or platforms you use, right? This is just an analytical statistical fact that we research. But you know, it's just showing you, if you're managing even from a small business, even if it's 5 or 6 different tools, if you're not actively engaged and trying to understand or report on it, doing that individually for each and every single one of them, if you have to go in each and every single day, it becomes just very daunting because it's so, everything is just so separated. They aren't cohesively working with each other. So to get a synopsis of how everything is performing and, you know, how things are trending or where areas need improvement or where there is opportunities available, if without a report, it's just more difficult to focus on what you really want to focus on, which is you're growing your small business, your client interaction, your customer satisfaction. So that's why we always encourage businesses to start, even if they don't know exactly where, to put everything together under a report. And we work with clients on that on a regular basis to help them fine tune it, help them understand, okay, what is actually happening here? How can we take this information and improve upon it instead of getting a headache and just, you know, wanting to take a step back, instead of just letting it run its course, set it and forget it. We want to say, okay, how can we simplify it for you so you can actually feel like you're contributing to it and feel good about the decisions that you're making with all these different tools.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into our kind of philosophy with starting with strategy. So you can be on dozens of different platforms, email campaigns, social media, Google Ads, but essentially you want to focus on the tactics that are going to support your strategy, your long-term business and marketing goals. So again, that tying with marketing, that kind of ties back with strategy and vice versa. You want to focus on the tactics that are going to support your overall strategy.
Yeah, so that exactly kind of touches base on that, right? So how do you identify opportunities in your marketing? Well, it starts first and foremost with a strategy, but it also helps you now identify with reporting. You know, if, for example, you're launched a social media campaign as a simple example, and you're excited about it, you launched a new product, you started your small business, or even if it's a large mass email marketing campaign to, 2,000, 5,000 plus individuals. If you don't track it on a regular basis and it just kind of slowly teeters down and you don't really notice it at first, but then after 6 months you say, okay, I should probably look at this again. And all of a sudden you realize, okay, I'm just wasting my money here. I'm not getting any return on it. It feels frustrating and you feel like your marketing isn't working for your business. That's the last thing what you wanted to do. So it helps you re-strategize if you have a marketing plan or a marketing strategy in place, because then you can say, okay, yeah, there's dips in the market, it might happen seasonally, or because it's just that we expected this to happen based on, we drew back on our budget. So you can accommodate and you can see beforehand, okay, there's some small incremental changes we can make here. But if you don't do any of that, it becomes very overwhelming to all of a sudden have to revert and build a whole new strategy. While if you had reporting, you could say, okay, we can do some small incremental changes to kind of adjust or do some A/B testing or work with my marketing team to kind of, improve it before it really gets out of hand. Another one that we sometimes work with is people want to increase their marketing budget, but then they don't see, for example, a return or little to no additional leads coming in. With a report, you can right away see, okay, why isn't it working? How can we improve upon that? And are we reaching the goals that we've set for ourselves? And are they also realistic, right? We can be very optimistic at first when we launch certain products, or let's say we want to attain 15 or 20 new clients for, the next quarter. With reporting set in place, we can see, okay, is this something that's attainable? How are we achieving it? Where do we need to make refinements? And we can kind of right away see, is it working for us, or do we need to choose a different strategy that we can collaborate with on together to achieve those goals? So like Katie mentioned in the beginning, when we set up marketing or we set up reporting, we always suggest to start and end with a strategy. If you start with reporting, it's great. But if you're still not clear as to where you want that report or that information to go, it really becomes, again, difficult to refine and understand what you want to see or what productivity you want to see out of it, or if it's actually helping your business at all. So when you put a strategy in place, and it matches your business goals, you can track it, you can be proactive, slowly reaching that goal. And it's, based on realistic milestones that we've set. So we can say, okay, by the end of the quarter, we want to have XYZ accomplished, and then we can set a new goal. And you can share that information then with the team and with your colleagues and with your board. And it's very clear, concise, and it provides a clear direction and understanding of where you want the business to grow and how it's growing as well, versus saying, well, we've had some good months, we had some bad months. Overall, yeah, it's doing okay. Here we can be a lot more specific, and you can have confidence in in the work that you're doing. And it also provides you an understanding of your customers and what their needs are and what they're looking for. For example, if you're doing a campaign and you're chasing the next, let's say it's TikTok you're chasing, but your audience isn't on that platform, you can refocus, you can restructure your plan and say, okay, our audiences aren't on there. Instead of continuing investing in that platform, let's change that and focus on LinkedIn instead and see how that is going to be productive, or if that's a new opportunity that we should be investing more. And then with reporting, you can then back up your findings and say, yes, this is something that is being productive for and good for our business. So let's continue to invest into that. So then when you do invest into those different platforms with your hard-earned dollars, you're also a lot more confident in what you're going to get in return. And that's what we want to see when we build a strategy. Peter, I know you're very heavily focused in strategy as well. Is there anything that you've seen when you build strategies for small businesses that sometimes gets overlooked?
Yeah, absolutely. Like what another problem and a whole different topic for a different webinar. And if we've spoken about this before, is exactly the problem of having all these options available and you as a small business owner not knowing or not spending the time figuring out what actually is going to work best for you. Like everybody has a limited budget to spend on their, generating more leads and more customers. So if you start with a strategy and start planning this out a little bit better right from the get-go, you'll see better results. And and the nice thing about the digital advertising, the digital marketing that we are mainly involved in, every single click, everything is measured, right? Whereas with the more traditional marketing methods, channels, you could figure out, well, we have so many readers of a magazine. You never would know how many people would have seen your ad. And then more importantly, you wouldn't have no clue how many people would actually have acted on it. So strategy is really, yeah, really important to start with. And that's kind of how we approach the work that we do with our clients.
Awesome. So yeah, the next thing we always want to focus on is to be effective with our reporting. So, you've set up your goals, you're strategic about it, and you're starting to, gather information. You want to be productive. You're starting to report on it. One thing that we do here at Edge is we try to be very effective with our reporting. So we try to cut out as much clutter as possible and just focus on the different areas or the different tactics or metrics that are important to you and that also mean that are valuable to you. So for example, if you go to Google, even social media, let's say open up your Instagram and you could look at the analytics or your website, you look at Google Analytics and you just get bombarded with page after page of information. What we do is we keep it very concise and simplified, but also it makes you feel a lot more confident and trusting in the work that you're doing when we just keep it very focused and focusing on the metrics that again drive the results for you. So we build custom reports for our clients when we do that. And one important thing that we always say is instead of going to all these different tools that are there, keep it all under one report if you can. So you have one document that provides all the information that you need. So you just have a clear bird's eye view or synopsis of everything that you're doing, all the different platforms, all the different tactics that you've invested in. And then you can look at it, on one piece of paper or one document and really get a clear picture within, a couple minutes of how well everything is performing and if there's new changes that need to be made. And you can compare the two as well, which we find is very valuable in doing that when you compile it all into one report.
Yeah, just to kind of add an example to that, as I mentioned, dealing with social media, I'm constantly jumping between Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So having those metrics on different platforms, it's very hard to compare them to see which one's performing more effectively than the other. And it can be just time consuming. I don't know if you guys have experienced that as well, having to jump between the different platforms and try to not only remember what you saw on one platform to compare it to the other, but yeah, it can be definitely daunting to kind of have to have those different analytics on different kind of reports.
Yeah, and then the nice thing with it as well, you can remove reports or reporting for tools that you no longer use, right? So if you do it on one report, you can cut out something that you're not. So for example, if you're no longer on Twitter or X anymore, you can cut it out. You don't have to worry about it, and it just simplifies it. It makes you feel a lot more just organized with your work and the strategy and the goals that you've set in place. This sounds like a very simple one. Make reporting a scheduled activity or do it on a more regular basis, but that's probably one of the harder ones to do is make it a regular occurrence. Because a lot of times, and I'm guilty of it as well, is you set something up and you know, you let it run its course, and then you get sidetracked with working with your clients or on a different project, or you have life gets busy and you just kind of set it and forget it. So we always recommend start at your own pace, but at least do monthly or even quarterly reports on everything that you're doing. So you can look at, okay, how am I investing my well hard-earned dollars into these different platforms, into my marketing, and is it actually worth it? You can identify new trends and opportunities that you may have missed otherwise if you don't regularly look at it, and you get more familiar with it as well. So you understand some of the different terminologies, you understand what it means if something's trending down or up. You don't right away, you know, get too emotional about it, but you become a little bit more rational, and you kind of use the strategy aspect of it and say, okay, yeah, this is what's happening this month. But if I look big picture from the previous months that I've seen, you know, we're still heading in the right direction. So we're okay, and we can keep course as is, or we need to adjust accordingly based on what I'm seeing here. So it becomes a lot more fun for yourself as well, because it's becoming a familiar asset or property that you own, and it doesn't feel like it's just over the top jargon that you don't want to be part of. Instead, it feels like it's something that it becomes like a portfolio that you want to continue to grow with. And last but not least, we want you to take action. So after you've set up a strategy, you've set up, you know, actionable goals that you want to achieve, you're getting regular reports. Now you can also say, you know, let's also now use this information and, you know, have a strategy based on results instead of, you know, things you think might work. You can now take action based on the results that you're collecting. So you can test incremental changes. You don't have to make massive changes like we looked at before. If something is trending down and you don't look at it, now you can say, okay, it's gone down. Now we can make a small tweak here or there, and then we can see how it performs again versus having to do a massive overhaul and feel like you're reinvesting in your marketing dollar once again because it didn't work the first time. Now you can be part of it and kind of have like a growing ecosystem almost that you can work with on a regular basis based on the actions that you can now take and feel good about those actions. And they're based on information that you've collected that is going to drive the next phase or steps of your strategy and also your business growth.
And I think one of those points is a learning opportunity, not a failure. A lot of the times it can be hard to kind of see that chart going down or the follows decreasing. But again, that's a chance to pivot and change your tactics to help improve and hopefully have a more positive outcome the next time you look at your report.
100%. Are there any questions so far from anybody? Okay. So then how do we at Edge, how do we simplify the data for the businesses and the partners that we work with on a regular basis? So one thing that we've already mentioned is we do one simple report. So everything gets compiled into a single document. You're not having to jump between different platforms. And one of the most exciting things when we work with our clients on a regular basis is it's done for you. So we take the work, we do the work, we try to understand, we work with you, we build a strategy, we understand what you're trying to achieve, and we report on those different metrics. So you don't have to do any of it. And we provide monthly reporting. So going back to that, make it a scheduled, a regular occurrence to look at this information, understand what's happening. And it doesn't have to be, you know, a massive 2-hour meeting. It can be something within 10 minutes. But again, it gives you the peace of mind that what you're investing in is being actively managed, actively working for you, instead of just letting it run its course and kind of have a set it and forget it mentality. And we focus on the information again that's valuable to you. So we cut out the clutter, and we're excited to show that to you in our demo report as well in a little bit. Just focusing on information that's important to you. So we start with a core base or platform for all of our clients, but our reports are always custom built for all our clients' needs, which is one of the most exciting things that we do for our clients is yes, we build a strategy, yes, we build beautiful products, but we also back it up with reporting that is easy to navigate, and that isn't overwhelming to you, but instead it becomes part of your business plan. And then we do regular reviews. So yes, we share it regularly, but we also do follow-ups with you and make sure that you understand what's going on. If we see opportunities within the information that's being collected, and we'll let you know, hey, this is something we might want to look at a little bit more detail, or let's see what happens in a week or two based on the information that's collected. So, you know, you have a support marketing team behind you looking at this information and giving you direction based on what we think is going to be most beneficial to the goals that we've set in the strategy phase.
I'm just gonna quickly switch screens to give you guys a quick look at how a report with Edge looks. Here.
So this is a demo report that's loading in at the moment, but this is a very accurate representation of what our clients receive on a monthly basis. So as you can see, so if you're used to Google Analytics or have seen those reports come in, what we've done here is we've just simplified it. We've broken it down and made it very interactive and user-friendly graphics to show how website traffic or how information is being utilized or how people are using your website. And we start with the basics, the fundamentals, and then we build out on this report based on your criteria, based on your wants and the information that you want to see, or the goals that you've set that you can work towards them. So we track the events on the pages, we break it all down, we make simple graphs, concise graphs, and also in a way that's easy, again, for you to understand. So it's not brand new every single time when you jump on a different platform or a different stage, or for example, if you go to a CRM, if you go a little bit further down, we have easy leads reporting in there, but the visual, the understanding, the verbiage is all very concise. So once you've familiarized yourself with one report, doesn't matter what tool or you're going to integrate into this. And there's about 50 plus different tools we can integrate, and if not more, into our reporting. But it's always consistently how it looks and the information that we're sharing. So you get very familiar and it becomes part of your marketing plan.
Yeah, so like for the audience, I guess this is just we're pulling all this information from all those different platforms. So like we're not making up this data ourselves. So if you are familiar with something like Google Analytics, which probably is installed on your website, it should be in, it probably is. Google Analytics, as we all know, is extremely complicated and difficult to look at. So what we're doing, we're pulling all that information from all those different channels, correct, Robert? And then we're putting it into a comprehensive report. Now, a question I have, like, is every report the same, or can you actually customize this for every client?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we customize it for each client. So of course, we always start with the core fundamentals for everybody. But if, for example, you want to see a lot more detail for website traffic, we can definitely make that happen, and we fully work with you on making that as unique and as customizable and as productive for you, so you get the most return on what you're investing into.
There's also a question that came from Judy. Katie, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, in the previous step where you talked about making reporting a scheduled activity, one of the things you said was identifying trends and new opportunities. As far as identifying trends are concerned, any suggestions on where the best place or places to look for that, where you're not, overwhelmed by 10 different ones, but any ideas there? Just throw me a bone.
Absolutely. So even if it's, your social platform, like identifying trends is what we would recommend is when we work with clients for, usually we have a healthy, even if it's a couple months or 6 months to a year, you can get a full take on it. And then you can say, okay, there's a dip in this area, or there's a growth in this area. So you can go back to your works or your efforts for that time period and see, okay, what did we do that was either effective or that was not working in our favor. So you can see, okay, how do we want to improve upon that for next year so we don't have that happen again?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I think I kind of misunderstood what you meant by identifying trends, because you're looking back at previous data
correct.
to look at the dips in the growth to see and then correlate that with what were you doing at the time. So you're talking about trends based on what's happening in your business, not trends what's happening out in the world.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Now I get it.
And yeah, just kind of touching back on what Robert had said, a specific example, we use different types of messaging for a specific client on social media. We had noticed there was a significant increase in engagement when we utilized that specific messaging. And then we actually pulled that messaging from social media and implemented it into Google Ads campaign. So you can use different kind of reports from different platforms to see what's working in one area that might actually work in different areas of your marketing as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Sorry, Judy. One tool you can go to, and we use it a lot actually. It's called Google Trends. It's free to
Yes.
use. I don't know if you've heard of it or familiar
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, I'm somewhat familiar, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great tool to kind of understand, okay, how are people searching? What is a current event that are people actively, all of a sudden have a lot of interest in?
Yep.
So those are tools that we use, and you can correlate that with your marketing efforts again and see, okay, is there any way we can tie that into our strategy or our marketing plan if it's for social or email? And then we can track again, going back to your personalized marketing over, a period of time. Was it actually, was it effective, or did it not really gain any extra results for us? So you can kind of
Yeah.
cross-reference the two as well, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that makes total sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now this is a bit of a, like the part of the presentation that's uncomfortable, right? We're actually letting you know how you can be part of this. Now, we're not here to sell you anything, but we do have, first of all, most of our clients are ongoing clients, so we have monthly retainers with them to help them improve their marketing and get more leads and more clients. So they, once you're on that program, this reporting tool and this work is included. Now, if you like, you can also just start out with that. If you already have you're doing the work yourself, or you have other providers for that, but you just want to have a snapshot of where everything is at. We provide that as well, so that you can kind of test drive and see if you like it. We feel we have a really strong kind of offer in this area as far as compared to a lot of our colleagues in the industry. It's a little bit of our secret sauce, I think, Robert, the way we set it up and the way we do it. So,
Yeah.
so these are some options. If you want to find out more about that, by all means, book a meeting or a call with any of us, and we can kind of walk you through it and kind of go from there. So, anything else we need to discuss before we open it up for questions? This is our last slide, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll open it up for some questions or any comments.
Thank you, Katie. So I have a question that some people have asked me in the past, so I'll just ask the question. Is like Google Analytics is a free service, as far as I know, right? Like Google is providing that for various reasons, of course. One of the main reasons being that they want to sell you advertising through Google Ads, correct?
Correct.
So if I can get that program for free, why would I pay Edge or anybody else to use this tool or to be part of a monthly program?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? But it's a lot like a lot of other tools or platforms or softwares that you download. You have good intentions, but of course, once you get bogged down with, you know, your workload and your daily lives, having to understand, having to work, having to set it all up, it can become quite technical. And there's a lot of verbiage and jargon in there that is, you know, just not you're in something that you need to learn or that you should learn because you're busy running your business. So what we do is we take that, you know, and if you go to Google Analytics, there's I think up to 300 different reports you can pull. We take it and put it on a single page so it helps you just clarify it, look at the big picture overview for your website so you can look at it, you know, in an evening when it gets sent to you, and not feel like you're overwhelmed with all this different information, having to learn new terms, having to learn a new software because they update it. We do that for you so that headache's gone and it's a done for you approach.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. And I think the biggest one for that is, yes, we do all of that, but instead of here's some numbers, we actually explain what they mean and back it again with your goals that are, you know, mean something to your business, because Google doesn't understand what your small business is trying to achieve. But what we do is when we sit down and build a strategy with you, we actually take that as part of our first step in everything that we do. So when we get the reporting aspect of it, we can correlate the two and two together to actually make sense of it all and see if it's working or if it's not.
Okay, cool.
I have a question. Is this completely standalone? Is it for sites that you host or completely standalone for any company?
Yeah, I can answer that. Like, so yeah, like we're using a external tool like an aggregator that aggregates all that information into a platform, and then we are able to pull connected with all your tools, you know, including Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook, your CRM in some instances, right? You know, like all the different social media platforms. So the power of the platform is it's allows you to have a single page, like a dashboard. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people are actually, yes, we are producing a report, and that was kind of the report that Robert showed earlier. But in essence, this is a real-time dashboard that you can link to as well. And again, we have not been able to find a better tool to kind of solve the problem of having all that information in different places. So now instead of logging into Google Analytics, which is confusing and hard to understand data, yeah, and in addition, you need to log into all your social media platforms. And in reality, a lot of our clients, small business owners, don't really have the time or the desire even to do that on a monthly basis, right? They may have good intentions, but it just doesn't happen. So with the setup we have, the arrangement we have with our clients, we are fully accountable to, you know, if we do the ongoing marketing for our clients, we're fully accountable to them, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, let's be honest, not every campaign is always a home run. But instead of just, you know, keep on going with something that doesn't work, we can quickly adjust and change the strategy of our approach. And yeah, like again, a lot of people have told us that's the missing link as far as, okay, you know, instead of saying like I'm spending money on marketing and I don't know where I'm wasting my money, now you can actually say, hey, we're investing your marketing dollars in a place and we can actually show you results. And these are, you know, especially if you get into the CRM integrations, but now we can actually put names on those people as well. But if nothing else, we can actually, you know, put it all into one easy to understand report. And then, you know, we hold our clients accountable as well, because once a month we'll call them and we actually say, hey, you know, like this is what we've been doing. And, you know, again, being fully transparent and trying to make things better for them. Did that answer does it answer
Yep.
your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so we're actually really excited about you know, we've been doing this for quite a few years now, but we're really excited about the opportunities that we have been able to identify for our clients. And in some cases, some of the feedback we're getting for the very first time ever, they now have a better sense about, yes, I'm investing money in marketing, but actually I get a return for it. And then that's the number one complaint with marketing, not knowing what works and what doesn't work. So a tool like this kind of solves a part of that problem.
Yeah, so if you're not able to think of any questions right now or any concerns that you might have with your reporting, we're always available for a conversation if you want to call the office or reach out to us by email. We're always happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Katie, for giving a really brief overview of this topic, and hopefully it was helpful. I think I learned a few things, so that's always good. And yeah, like feel free to reach out to us anytime with your questions. We'll stay on here for a few more minutes. We also want to respect your time, so.
And then we'll also be sending the slides and recordings of this webinar afterwards to everyone as well.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Is that your office? The street view?
That is, yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
I can tell it's a quiet, safe town because there's no bars on the windows like there would be in
Oh my God.
downtown Victoria. And it's not on the second floor.
Yeah,
we're
that's
pretty,
for
we're pretty proud to be in Lacombe. It's a wonderful community.
Good.
You're